Next, we're going to discuss meets and service hour opportunities. This is where you sign up for meets and service hours and figure out if you can attend them. The first section here is meet, facts, and help. You definitely want to check that out. That kind of walks you through how to get your swimmer ready for their very first meet or anything you might need to know about how a swim meet works. When you go back, we have a season meet schedule. That kind of gives you an idea of what's coming up in the next few months, and you can see what your swimmer might have coming up so you can plan. And then time standards and your swimmer's time. So I'll show you that in just a minute when we start to talk about the meets. If you have any questions, always talk to the coach about what they should be entering. It's a great idea to have your swimmer talk to their coach first. They should be the main communicator. And then if you need to follow up, go ahead and email your coach. Anything about volunteering, you're always going to talk to that vice president. So if we look down here, we can see there's some things that are job sign up. So that's going to be an opportunity for service hours. And then the attend decline is going to be mostly swim meets. So for example, we have a community service fundraiser. That's going to be a job sign up. So you can go in and go ahead and get volunteer hours that way. If you were to click in job sign up, you can see what's available. If any of these had little boxes next to them, then you could sign your name in here. Luckily, this one is all full right now. You would just sign up. Now, the other section, like I said, is for meets. So the first meet that we have coming up is the Core Classic. What I'm going to do is look at this pretty closely and say, okay, am I qualified to swim in it, or is my swimmer qualified? I'm certainly not qualified. It's going to say they need to have achieved an A time or faster, and we're going to talk about that. But the first thing you want to do is click on the meet and find out the meet information. Okay, this is going to tell us where it's located. So it's at Rockwall, the starting date and the ending date, and then our registration deadline. So the registration that we need to turn it in by, as in me and you parents, we need to get this in by November 18th. So we have to have said whether or not we were going by then. That is the deadline. The next thing I'm going to do is go down to the very bottom and click on the forms and documents. There are just a couple things on forms and documents you want to know about. The first, the location again, the date, and then a lot of this we don't need to know as parents. Check-in can be helpful. It can tell you whether or not you need to go and actually sign up that you have arrived. So here it's going to tell you if you're swimming the 400 IM and the 500 free, you'd have to sign in, but the other things it doesn't talk about. The other important section that you would see is fees. So it's always a good idea to check and see how much are you going to pay. It'll tell you what it is per individual event and then the charge that you start with. So usually that's kind of a splash fee just for the meet. So you're not surprised. A couple more things we look at. The daily schedule. So this is going to tell you what time you need to warm up. Whatever time warm up is, you usually want to arrive at least 15 minutes early, even a little earlier for brand new swimmers so they can get find a coach, get accustomed to their setup, get ready to go. And then it'll tell you what time the actual meet starts. But like I said, you want your swimmer there early for warm up. And then it'll walk you through kind of a schedule of events. So kind of an approximate what order things are going to go in. Now, the other important thing that I mentioned that we were going to look at here was how you know if your swimmer is qualified to swim in this event. So in this time it said swimmers are permitted to enter any event which they have achieved the A time standard or better. And a lot of times we have no idea what that means when we first start. So at this top of this page, I have time standards and your swimmer's time. So you're going to look and just know that when your swimmers are just starting out, we're going to look at these age group motivational times. Most of them have something called a C time. So at that point, they're not an A, not a B, not a BB. But as your swimmer starts to improve, they may get some of those times. So you need to know how to find them. You can find your swimmer's times here, or if they're just in novice meets at this point, kind of doing the 25-yard meets, you can see those here. You're going to click into the age group motivational times. One of the most important things you can do, I'm already on short course yards. You want to check that first. At the very top of the screen, here, I'm going to scroll up slowly, is long course meters. So you need to make sure whether you're racing in a 50-meter pool or a 25-yard pool. And you can see that on the meet information. So now it said that we needed to have an A time. So I'm going to look at what age and gender my swimmer is. So if I had, say, I don't know, 11 to 12-year-old boy, and I want to know, are they qualified to swim the 100-yard freestyle in this event? I would be like, okay, so the A time is a 1 and 89/100ths. And so if my swimmer had a time that's faster than that or that, then they would be qualified to swim it in that event. That's kind of how this goes for each of these different meets. So guys, that's what we're going to do when we actually get registered into a meet. That's what you guys need to know. The only other thing you have to do once you've figured it out is just go ahead and attend or decline. You really only need to worry about attending. You don't need to decline if you're not going to go. Unfortunately, I don't have my actual swimmers here, but I would find a swimmer. I'd say yes or no, and then I would choose their events, and then you're all set up. You don't need to send in any money. That is handled by the team, and you'll get a bill for the meet at the beginning of the next month.